Voymonk vlog number 36, and it is 7:23 p.m. November 27th. And I'm not going to do the year. I don't think these are going to necessarily need to be done by year. I think in the title will pretty much naming the vlogs kind of do that. So I made my decision between last vlog and this one. I'm not going to be doing the year, just timestamp it and that sort of thing. And that might be changing a little bit too. Who knows? I think I'll give a little bit more time for that to cook and decide whether or not I'm going to be timestamping every one of my vlogs. So yeah, last vlog I was talking about my favorite action films, my favorite, the things that make an action film, great to me and what's necessary. And I've done that with sci-fi, but this one I specifically wanted to talk about my favorite sci-fi, my literal favorite shows and that kind of thing, which Star Trek is my favorite, followed or very closely by Star Wars, which probably how generic can I get, but those are my favorites. Those are what I grew up with. But besides that, I would say some of the closer ones that are definitely my favorite as well, because sci-fi is just the genre that I love. Farscape, terrific show. It was based out of Australia, and I would say it's very close to almost eclipsing a lot of the shows that I kind of would say are my more favorite, because it was done in a way that I actually like a little bit more than anything else, which is it was character driven. It was singular kind of character driven in the fact that it was about John Crichton and his being sucked through a wormhole in a distant part of the universe. But the thing I loved the most about the story was that, in contrast to, Star Trek and Star Wars, it really pretty much was based on a kind of out of their woods, kind of a Alice in Wonderland kind of rabbit hole type of thing. And it kind of tackled the sci-fi in a fun way, which is it kind of showed some of the limitations, I think, in some of the previous series that I mentioned, where I would say Star Trek, even though it's one of my favorite shows, it just generally tends to be more human-centric. I would say Star Wars is a little bit more that way as well, but you do have variety, whereas Farscape went even further. And in fact, it's not human-centric so much. I think in some ways it still kind of falls into those trappings, but it doesn't make humans from Earth the central and more important or most important characters, although I think there's still that identification and identity thing that's still pretty strong in there. So Farscape is one of my favorites. I love Stargate SG-1, although when it first came out, I actually missed the entire run, which was 10 years of content. Luckily, though, I actually came across a box set of DVDs that all of them worked, all of them were the way they were supposed to, and I really regret the fact that I had pawned them because I really needed money at one point. And it was a great series. It was one of those shows that I really wish that at the time I probably would have given it a better shot, since one of my coworkers that I worked with pretty much was in love with Richard Dean Anderson and tried to turn me on to it. Stargate SG-1. As far as newer shows, I'm definitely into Strange New Worlds. I love it. And even though I wasn't necessarily sure that there could ever be something that I would feel as close or love as much as Star Trek The Next Generation, which I'm still convinced of, Strange New Worlds is really, really my cup of tea. I love the guy that I think is Arnson something, who plays the Captain Pike. He's definitely become my second favorite captain. And really, it's one of the greater shows that I've been kind of longing for. It's kind of what I really wished Enterprise would have been. Of course, had I given it more of a chance, I probably would have found more that I liked about it as well. And like I said, Strange New Worlds is definitely one of my favorite sci-fis. I've not really treaded too much into Discovery, although I had seen a good part of the first season. And it's not that I didn't like it, it was just, it felt completely foreign to me, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just one of those things that kind of made me think, I don't know that this is really geared towards me. The direction they were taking really didn't seem all that clear, and I did see part of the second season as well. But while it's not necessarily my favorite, it's one that I want to check out. But Strange New Worlds, definitely something that I gravitate towards. I like the guy that plays Spock. He's the son of Gregory Peck, and I can't think of his name. As far as other series, as far as sci-fi, I loved Eureka. It was certainly different. It kind of made me feel it was a little bit more cross between sci-fi and kind of Twilight Zone-ish, which is definitely my cup of tea and how I was raised. This little town called Eureka that always had weird things that would happen and a mystery to solve, which pretty much rings all of my bells. And so, yeah, when it comes to sci-fi, good storytelling, as I mentioned, is the most important thing. But in terms of sci-fi, those are my favorite sci-fi. And, since I love sci-fi so much, this is not going to be my only time talking about sci-fi. I might go into more depth in a video voiceover as well. And I'm sure it'll come up plenty of times in the future again in terms of content. But there's just a lot of it. And so this video vlog, I wanted to share my favorite sci-fi. There's plenty more. And hopefully you'll come along and you'll share some of yours and that. So until next time, this is vlog number 36. And until next time, take care.